Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here. Hope you guys are having an awesome week. It is officially Friday. It is the 10th of October, just after 4 p.m. out here in Pacific time in the, well, usually, it's a little warm. It's muggy. It's actually very muggy here in the desert today because it's been raining since yesterday. So, and, we're supposed to get a whole bunch of rain this weekend from a tropical storm. So yeah, fun stuff out here in the desert. I love when it rains because I grew up in such a rainy place. It just makes me feel like I'm home for a little bit. So it's a nice little break. But I really appreciate all of you for showing up and hanging out. It is just after 7 p.m. over there on the East Coast. I know there's a whole bunch going on YouTube on a Friday, so we're going to get right to it. I'm going to touch on a couple quick housekeeping kind of things here for the channel, and then we're going to jump into the news because we have a handful of stories to cover here, and I do have a live stream coming up at 10 p.m. Eastern. Just wanted to remind you guys here, we are doing a live watch party of A Nightmare on Elm Street 1984. That's going to be for Raymond Malaber's birthday. For those of you who don't know, Raymond is a community member of ours that we lost earlier this year, unfortunately, and excuse me, I'm not getting choked up about that. I'm just talking and not taking a second to breathe or swallow my own saliva. So my body tells me, dude, you can't talk anymore. Take a break. But, like losing Raymond was a total shock. He's such a sweetheart. Everyone in the community, he was just so welcoming to the one thing I kept on seeing out there was when I was the new person in the chat, Raymond was so welcoming and so sweet. And we are watching A Nightmare on Elm Street on his birthday, which is actually today. It's going to be Ken from Sledgehammer Horror, Brett from Good Real Hunting, and Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews. Sounds like he may be a 50-50, but it's going to be a group of us anyways, watching and celebrating Raymond. It was the movie, A Nightmare on Elm Street was the movie that got him into horror. So to celebrate his birthday, that's what we're going to do. And really quick, though, before we jump into all the news and everything like that, let me just jump on over here. A couple things I want to share with you guys. I'm going to keep on harping on this. The Discord server is fucking fun, people. It is awesome. It's a great way to keep in touch and, in between streams and to build a stronger sense of community with one another. We have a lot of fun over there. We share music with each other. We share movie news. We share memes, we self-promote. There's a whole channel there for self-promoting if you have stuff going on that you want to share. And we do public watch parties over on the Discord. It's really, really cool. So we can actually show the movie. There's no weird copyright kind of thing. So you don't have to have your own copy. You don't have to subscribe to one of the million subscription services out there, streaming services. And sometimes we even listen to music. We do like a mixtape party, which is really fun. So the Discord server is free. There's a link in the description below, so jump on down there, click that link, and join us, as the Deadites would say. Now, for you folks that are channel members or Patreon members, first off, thank you so much. It is incredible what you guys do. I mean, every single one of you that hangs out here on the channel, it's amazing what you bring to the table. The community is incredible. I feel like this is a channel where, like, you guys do so much. I'm merely I'm the host and the organizer. I'm the behind the scenes guy. But when we actually hit that live button and I go live with all y'all, you guys really drive the streams and drive the conversations. I love it. So thank you so much. For those folks that are members or Patreon, either Patreon members or YouTube channel members, there is a 15% off discount code on our Fourth Wall shop. And we have a whole bunch of really fun merch over there. A whole bunch of spooky season specific stuff. So if you're wanting to get a fun shirt or a mug or something cool for spooky season, I would say within the next week you're going to want to make that purchase. Fourth Wall is great at getting things out to people within about a week, and everything that I've seen, I've got one of the pint glasses here, high quality, awesome stuff, and then I've had people send me pictures of their racerback tanks. I've seen some of the mugs and all that kind of stuff. Like, everything is looking really good. So if you're a member, you get that 15% off. Go on over to the community tab on the YouTube page and you will find that code there. Okay, so I just wanted to let you guys know. Last little bit of shilling I have here is They're the folks over at Creator VC have asked me to be an affiliate on another one of their projects, which is very humbling and very sweet and awesome. So I wanted to share this with you guys. You all know about the In Search of Darkness documentaries, right? They put together these like 4-hour documentaries, deep dives, really nerdy shit catered to big time horror nerds like us. So, you know, they've done In Search of Darkness 90 to 94. And now we've got 95 to 99 that they're doing a pre-order on. I recently helped them with their Slasher Trash documentary, which is taking a look at all the really gritty, grimy, trashy slashers from the 70s and 80s. So, you know, when it comes to In Search of Darkness, let me just share this with you. So, you know, for the next 21 or almost, 21 and a half days-ish, they're doing this pre-order. Now, I have pinned my affiliate link in the chat there, so you guys can find it in the chat. And if you use that affiliate link, what's really cool is not only are you supporting the amazing filmmakers over at Creator VC who are, you know, independently doing this as part of their passion, but you're also supporting the channel. I get a nice little, I think it's like a 20% little kickback. So I'm always going to be honest with you guys when I am, you know, literally shilling something that benefits the channel. Now, sometimes I just talk about things that I love just because I love them, and there's no benefit to me other than it feels good to speak passionately about things you love. Like, I'm a big fan of Womp Stomp Films and everything that Vincent DeSanti does. Some people think that I am somehow financially in bed with Womp Stomp. That is not true. I just really like what they do. However, in this instance, I'll just be honest with you guys. Yeah, they reached out to me. I really enjoy what they do. I truthfully love the work that Creator VC does, and it's just an extra bonus to be able to help them sell some more copies of their amazing documentary work. So I'll spare you all the details. Maybe at some point I'll put together a video where I'll cover all of this, but you can even buy the last two versions of In Search of Darkness for like $140 plus shipping, which is really cool. Or you can just get, you know, even down to like a digital version of just the new one. So there's a whole bunch of different packages here. You can see all the different people that were involved, from Dee Snider to Lou Diamond Phillips to Heather Langenkamp. Like, I mean, it's got all the people that we love, and this is just a celebration of 90s horror, specifically with this version, the late 90s or mid to late 90s horror. So I wanted to share that with you guys before we get going here. I know it probably seems like I'm moving a million miles an hour, but it's because sometimes I find that I do all the housekeeping stuff, and then it's like we're 35 minutes into the stream. It's wild. So trying not to waste your guys' time. So yeah, and then, you know, coming up on the channel, I guess maybe I can dive into this a little bit more at the end of the stream, but whole bunch of stuff is planned. We've been doing all these live tier maker rankings, they've been amazing. You guys do the voting on that, which is so much fun. So, you know, we're going to rank the Scream franchise on this upcoming Wednesday for Late Night with the Davey at 9 p.m. Eastern. Then the following week, we are going to rank 70 different kinds of Halloween candy, which I'm really pumped for. We've got my buddy Lito Velasco going to be appearing on the channel on Thursday, October 23rd. We're going to talk about Freddy Krueger and A Nightmare on Elm Street. And, Lito's a huge fan, and I'm kind of lukewarm. So we're going to see if maybe some of Lito's enthusiasm and passion can rub off on me. And then, guys, October 24th, that's the big one. That is the marathon fundraiser for St. Mary's Food Bank out here in the Phoenix area. I'm going to be going live for about 10 hours. I've got, I think, 8 guests lined up so far. I'm just waiting on solidifying 1 or 2 more. And we are going to talk about with each guest, we're going to talk about their favorite horror movies from each decade that they've been alive. And we're going to talk about a couple that almost made the cut. So it's going to be, you know, kind of a focused discussion on their favorite horror movies from each decade of their life. And I'm going to be keeping a tally of all of the movies that get mentioned, and we'll kind of see, you know, which movies are getting the most love, like throughout all the generations and the decades. And it's going to be really interesting to look at that. It's for a very good cause. St. Mary's has been they've been feeding families in need since 1967 here in the Phoenix area. So they're a great organization. They're one of the highest rated charity organizations out there. So we're going to do some good for them. and I'm gonna, I don't know, pee in a bucket. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I haven't figured all that out yet. I'm just, still putting everything together. So that is what's coming up on the channel, as well as random ass horror movie news streams like this one. So there you go. I'm gonna say what's up to everybody in the chat, and then we're gonna get cruising with the news. Cruising with the newsin'. How about that? We got Chester Franklin Jr., Ashton Luck, Adrian James. Oh, yeah. What's happening, Adrian? We got Gene Whitacombe in the chat as well. Lamontre Gillard. How you doing, Lamontre? Brad Underwood. What's happening, Brad? We got Our Life in Horror. Sam. What's happening, Sam? Boobs, butts, and blood, baby. Yes, I almost forgot. Sam, thank you so much for reminding me. I mean, of course, I love, boobs, butts, and blood. I'm all about it. But we do have, there is a poll in the chat. So the poll in the chat asks, what would you want most from a Friday the 13th reboot? The options are brutal kills and practical effects, a fresh origin story for Jason, boobs, butts, and blood, or eerie Crystal Lake vibes. How about that? And I also do have a super chat goal opened up. Again, that's just like a bonus thing. If you guys are into, having a public watch party of your choice on the Discord, then 5 super chats of $5 or more will unlock that. Those are super fun hangouts on Discord, watching movies together. And I'm not on camera or on microphone or anything. We're just all in the chat. We get a little saucy and a little spicy in the chat. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, guys. So again, super chats are just a bonus thing. I love you guys just for hanging out, but if you want to financially contribute to the channel and help this little side hustle of mine and help me reach that dream, then that's an even bigger bonus right there. Thank you for the reminder on the poll there, Sam. I hope you're doing well. I'm in like day 66 or something of my no alcohol journey. So sometimes I don't even keep track of the days because thankfully it's been a breeze. It's been a breeze. I'm very, very happy for that. What's happening, Gory Tiger? How you doing? We got one of our great channel members, Paula Fitzhenry. How you doing, Paula? We got Jason from Backtrack Cinema. What's happening, Jason? And we got our guy, Falls Rotten. Says, I want to see Davey Deathray in a Friday the 13th movie. That would be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be so much fun? I mean, shit, I would settle for just some sort of narration job or just being a guy. I'm not even on screen, but you just hear my voice say something funny in the background. I'll take that. We got Fachi from Fachi Cinema in the house. How's it going, Matt? So great to see you. One of our amazing Death Squad mods. Thank you for joining us, Matt. Hope you had a great week at work and you're ready to relax a little bit here. We got Gina, a.k.a. My Chunky Jordy, in the chat. How are you doing, Gina? Antonis Andriotis, what's happening, Antonis? And I almost forgot to say it, but Gina is one of our great channel members. Gina's been a channel member for a really long time. Gina, how long has it been? Do you have a membership milestone chat that you can share to brag to everyone on how long you've been a channel member? I'm curious to know. We got Raggedy Man in the house. What's happening, Raggedy? It's been a while. Great to see you, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Love seeing that. There's going to be a stream in honor of Steven from Craven Something Scary sometime soon. So when I find out when, Davey, will you promote it, please? Absolutely, Gina. I will. I would love to be a part of promoting that. Unfortunately, I didn't get to know Steven personally, but I did hang out on some of his streams, and I always really enjoyed him. And everything I heard about Steven was that he was a complete sweetheart. And I do, people like Killjoy Jake, who I'm, I consider like a buddy of mine here on YouTube. I know he was really close with Steven, regularly streaming with him. And you can tell from the people that knew Steven well and the people that really, got to know him and love him, just how amazing he was. So yes, whenever that is, up and ready, I would love to share that for you guys. So of course. Parker Healy says, oh man, we have a lot to talk about after this. And let's just, you think we have a lot to talk about right now. We haven't even gotten into the news yet. We have not even gotten into the news. How long has it been though, Gina? I want to know, how long have you been a channel member? I don't know if you can share that right now. But yeah, I'm curious to know. Okay. I have to have a sip of my fizzy water. feel like I'm going a million miles an hour. Guys, this is just what life is like without alcohol for me. I feel like I got to rocket up my ass like most of the time. And honestly, guys, I am a relatively, it's funny for the people that know me and have gotten to hang out with me in real life. I'm curious to know how much my persona is different, because I can get charged up when we're talking about something fun like horror movies. But I think of myself as like a relatively chill guy a lot of times. But you guys jazz me up, man. I love hanging out with y'all. So, okay, in the interest of not just blah, blah, blahing and self-indulgence for the entire stream, which you guys know I could certainly do for a good 2 hours, we are going to get to some good stuff here. So let's jump. We got a lot of like big three news, and it sounds like Jason Blum is just he's playing hungry hippos with every single horror IP out there. So we're going to get into that, but let's start things off with this one. This is a story I briefly mentioned on Hit the Bricks last night, but I wanted to cover it with you guys on here, mostly because I wanted to have something that I could snip out for later. So just make sure all my spelling is good there. Let's go on over there. How about that? Okay. All right, guys. So just yesterday, we got this article from John Squires over at Bloody Disgusting. Now, the headline reads, "Original ending of Halloween Ends would have taken place inside a mask factory." And right when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to talk to everyone about this. I need to know everyone's thoughts. Guys, you all know that I'm a huge Halloween Ends fan. I love the film. I know it's pretty damn divisive. I call it the Last Jedi of the Halloween franchise, because fans are so split on this one. I really enjoy it. I have close friends that don't. And specifically, one of my good buddies, Leanna Bebby one of our great channel members in Death Squad mods, she really doesn't like the procession at the end. So when I saw this, I immediately texted the article to her. I'm like, oh my God, they almost did something that, maybe would have made you like this movie a little bit more. So before we dive in, or as I dive in, I'm curious to know, for all the people, watching live, what are your thoughts on Halloween Ends? You could just even give me a yay or nay on it. You don't have to dive into all of your thoughts. But for the folks that are watching after the fact, I'm curious, because I know we have a little bit of a different audience sometimes that watches the stream after the fact, or maybe they're watching the news bits. Jump on into the comments down below and let me know your thoughts on Halloween Ends, and if a different ending would have, changed how you felt about the movie, whether you liked it or not. So let's go ahead and jump on into the article here. We got a great shot there of Connell Cochran with Dr. Chalice back there, and those beautiful Dawn Post pumpkin masks from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. And the article says, "For many years, the most controversial installment in the Halloween franchise was Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. But with that oddball entry becoming more and more beloved as the years go on, the new world champion in that department may very well be Halloween Ends." Released in 2022, Halloween Ends was the final installment in David Gordon Green's legacy sequel trilogy, tasking itself with wrapping up the Michael Myers and Laurie Strode story, while also introducing a brand new shape into the mix with Rowan Campbell's Corey Cunningham. The character and his role in Halloween Ends proved divisive, to say the least, with most fans looking for one thing and one thing only from Halloween Ends: a satisfying conclusion to the Laurie versus Michael saga that began back in 1978 with John Carpenter's original slasher classic. A final battle that a few films before it, including Halloween 2018, had claimed to be. But Halloween Ends, well, it may have finally made good on the promise. Halloween Ends comes to a close with Laurie killing Michael Myers once and for all, a thing she's also done a couple times before, and feeds his corpse into an industrial shredder while the town of Haddonfield watches on with solemn approval. It's essentially a hopeful ending for Laurie, who will presumably be able to now finally get back to some semblance of normal life, outside of the nightmares about feeding her not brother into an industrial shredder, of course. Now, the article goes on to say, But the original endings to Halloween Ends would have been a bit different in the wake of Michael's disposal. As Jamie Lee Curtis notes in the new book, I almost just said Halloween instead of horror. As Jamie Lee Curtis notes in the new book, Horror's New Wave, 15 Years of Blumhouse, one original ending took us into a mask factory, while another would have quite literally had the evil from Michael Myers enter the body of Laurie Strode. No, seriously. Quote, the original ending of Halloween Ends, originally entitled Halloween Dies, was a scene in a mask factory, Jamie Lee Curtis explains. You see a conveyor belt of masks being manufactured. They're Michael Myers masks, which was saying, we're all monsters if we put on the mask. It's not just Michael, it's all of us if we wear the mask. And yet somehow it didn't satiate. I think it was too intellectual for this finale. It was a big swing, and I honor and support the big swing, end quote. She continues, quote, there was also an ending in which we explored and filmed a sort of transference between Laurie and Michael. In the final killing of Michael, Laurie almost became him. In this second of glory, taking the life of Michael Myers, she became Michael Myers. She has to go away at that point. She has to revert back to the Laurie we met in the first film. She has to isolate herself for the rest of her life because she now has a piece of Michael in her. But it was too dark and too profound to satisfy the hunger of this 40-year journey. And we changed it to this procession where the town of Haddonfield quietly bears witness to the end of Michael. Then Laurie goes back to her house for the final scenes. And we get that shot there of Hawkins and Laurie. Cherry blossoms. So the article rounds out. I mean, it continues here. I guess I'll read the rest of it. Why the heck not? Just for good measure. The article wraps up with, it was Jamie Lee Curtis who insisted upon the happy ending between Laurie and Frank on the front porch outside Laurie's house in Haddonfield, intended to, in her own words, quote, give hope that they're going to end up in Japan and that Laurie's going to get a shot at life. And then, well, the shape makes one last appearance. Sort of. The very last shot of Halloween Ends shows the Michael Myers mask sitting on a coffee table in Laurie's house, suggesting that she can never fully move past her own personal boogeyman. Quote, I think there was an ambiguity to it intentionally, Jamie Lee Curtis explains in Horror's New Wave, 15 Years of Blumhouse. I think it has the same effect that the original idea for the mask factory spewing out Michael Myers masks would have had, end quote. Would that have been a silver shamrock mask factory, perhaps? Halloween Ends is, after all, the Halloween 3 Season of the Witch of David Gordon Green's trilogy, a mask that spreads evil around a town on Halloween night. Now, where have we heard that one before? So I'm really interested in this book, guys. I'm going to bring up the image here, and we'll just focus on that one while we chat. But I'm curious to know, of course, all of you guys in the live chat, your thoughts on these alternate endings, if there's one that you think would have been better than another. In fact, I might even drop a poll for you folks that are watching live so you can vote on that. And then for all you folks who are watching after the fact, let me know in the comments your thoughts on Halloween Ends. And, you know, if you think that one of these alternate endings could have even been better than what we ultimately received in the final version of the film. Thank you so much for checking out the video. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content, because we cover horror news all the time on the channel. So not even just movies or TV, but also comic books, regular books like this book on Blumhouse's first 15 years, even video game stuff. As long as it piques our interest or tickles our fancy, we're going to cover it right here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, guys, let me jump on over and see what y'all are saying here. Holy cow, we've got Eli Cortez dropping on in. Guys, it's going so fast in the chat. There we go. What's happening, Eli? So great to see ya. Yes, make sure to hit that like button, guys. It really does help. Even if you're watching after the fact, it helps out greatly. And yes, Eli is a man after my own heart, doing the extra shilling for me. Really appreciate it, Eli. And that link right there, guys, that is pinned in the chat as well if you want to order your own copy. So yes, jump on in and do that if you're feeling it. 13 months. That is awesome, Gina. I'm microdosing, so I haven't drank in 3 months unintentionally. All right. Yeah, my plan is to never do it again. I have enough fun with cannabis, and yeah. So alcohol, I used up all the fun points for alcohol. It's just not fun for me anymore. I don't know. We'll talk about that here in a few. Yes, we will talk about that in a few. We got Paul Harrison jumping on in. What's happening, Paul? Says, I feel like Halloween Ends should have continued directly from Kills. Have it all set in one night. I think that was the original intention, Paul. Well, you know, if the pandemic didn't happen, I think the idea was that all 3 films would be on the same night. And because of the pandemic, I mean, a whole bunch of other wild stuff happened in this world, but it also made them kind of had a lot more time to play around with Halloween Ends. And even though I do really love the film, it's not perfect. And I think it could have been, I think the whole trilogy could have been better if it did go as originally planned, for sure. Jason Carpenter jumps on in. What's happening, Jason? Says, I'm happy with the ending we got in Halloween Ends. I would have hated it if Laurie got a bad ending. That makes a lot of sense too. I don't mind the procession and all that. I still think it would be cool to show the Silver Shamrock or something in Michael's mask. That would have been pretty awesome. I think the book ends with Laurie, with the Laurie one, but can't remember. I'd have liked the mask ending, as then it left it open for a new Myers, so to speak. Yeah, exactly. I mean, even the Corey story kind of opens it up, or he leaves it open, you know, that the evil can transfer from one body to another. Yeah. We got Falcons fan 408 in the house. What's happening, Falcons fan? Welcome back, man. Welcome back. Hopefully you've been well. We got Corey from Wilkie's Movies and Music. Hey there, Corey. Hope you are feeling better and on the mend, my guy. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Holy cow, we got Destiny Faulkner, one of our great Death Squad mods in the house. How are you doing, Des? Always a pleasure to hang with you. Of course, of course. King Matthew III. What's happening, King Matthew? I'm doing well. I am doing well, man. All right, let's, yes. It's Friday, y'all. Play, 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 play. How you doing, Leanna? Speak of the devil. Leanna, we just talked about the other alternate endings to Halloween Ends that don't include your hated procession there. Great to see you, Leanna, one of our great channel members and Death Squad mods. And of course, Eli, channel member, Death Squad mod, pillar of the horror YouTube community. That's our guy. That's our guy. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the next story because we have so much to cover. Yeah, this one. These fucking guys. Excuse my French. Okay. How do you like my little banner down there, guys? Okay, everyone. I don't know if I like that. I already know I don't like that intro for the cut up video later. All right, everyone. Well, the Jason universe folks, they really are the gift that keeps on giving here. We've got an article from Bloody Disgusting that comes to us by way of John Squires. The headline reads, Jason universe team doubles down on promise of a Friday the 13th movie. I can't even read the headline the right way. My brain is just like scrambled here dealing with Jason universe. I'm going to start that all over again. All right, folks. Well, the Jason universe people are just the gift that keeps on giving here. It just seems like they're falling over their own feet, and I'm here for it and here to share it with you. So we have an article here from Bloody Disgusting. It comes to us by way of John Squires, and the headline reads, Jason universe team doubles down on promise of a 13th movie in the Friday the 13th franchise. And let's see what they have to say. I'm very, very curious because I've been seeing this stuff make the rounds, and it seems like anytime a rumor or anything comes out about Friday the 13th, it sets the horror world ablaze. So let's see. I don't know, guys in the live chat, let me know your thoughts on just how this whole Jason universe thing is going. I think there's been mostly bad and a couple of like decent things they've done, just decent. But I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts, and if you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on the Jason universe. What are you thinking about this mask? I've been seeing, skins of Jason for these video games. I don't know. It doesn't look like the Jason that I know and love, but maybe the whole idea is to reboot Jason for a younger generation and really like target people that aren't even old enough to go see a movie. Maybe they're not going to plan on putting out the movie until all the 12 and 13-year-olds can actually check it out in the theater. I don't know, but let's go ahead and jump on into the article, which says the rights issues have finally been worked out and Jason Voorhees is finally back in our lives, with the Jason Universe team resurrecting the horror icon earlier this year to begin a brand new chapter in his historic legacy. That new chapter has already included the short film Sweet Revenge, while the TV series Crystal Lake looms on the horizon for some time next year. But what about a new movie? Jason Universe's Robbie Barsamian recently teased that. Why can't I read that correctly? Okay. But what about a new movie? Jason Universe's Robbie Barsamian recently teased that a new Jason Voorhees and video game are in the works, and he doubles down on those comments in an interview that was just published in the new issue of SFX magazine. Quote, "We are actively working on a new movie, which will be the 13th in the franchise, as well as a new video game," Barsamian teases in the new issue of SFX magazine. I don't know why that's tough to say, SFX magazine. I just want to say FX magazine. Barsamian also teases in the chat with the magazine that Jason will also be returning, quote, "in other unexpected ways," end quote. He notes, quote, "We're exploring a variety of opportunities, but consistently staying focused on authenticity." Are you sure? Robbie, are you sure that you're consistently staying focused on authenticity? What about those eye holes on the Nicotero mask? Can you explain those eye holes? Anyways, all right, enough editorial from me. The new issue of SFX is the magazine's annual Halloween special. It features the return of Pennywise in It Welcome to Derry, Art the Clown in a new Terrifier game, Jason Voorhees, Leprechaun, Frankenstein, Black Phone, and Rice's Immortal Universe, Halloween Horror Nights, and so much more. And you can subscribe to SFX magazine from clicking the link that's on the Bloody Disgusting site. But yeah, guys, it's so funny to me anytime something like this comes out. And let me just share this picture of, maybe one of the only like kind of decent shots of Jason from Sweet Revenge. Yeah, the Jason Universe people, it really does seem like it's about generating buzz and not really generating much substance. Obviously, hopefully these aren't the only couple of quotes from that interview and they just want us to get the magazine and read the whole interview, right? But Robbie Barsamian is basically saying the same thing that was said at the San Diego Comic-Con. So, whether or not this is like new news, I guess the fact that he is doubling down on it, because we did hear, when Vincent DeSanti from Womp Stomp went to the premiere of Sweet Revenge, he had heard from people inside the Jason universe that they're really like, yeah, they want to make a movie and a video game, but they don't really have something like of substance. So I think that's an important takeaway here, is that just saying that like, hey, we have these plans, we're going to do this. It doesn't mean that the movie is even in pre-production. It doesn't even mean that they have an outline. They sure as hell don't have a script, or else that would be, we'd be like ready to go to pre-production at that point. So title, don't have that, I'm guessing, or else he probably would have said something like that. So this is something that I'm guessing is probably 3 years away at the soonest. I think the soonest we're going to see a Friday the 13th movie, maybe 2027, maybe towards the end of the year in 2027. But my guess would be sometime in 2028, we would see a return to the big screen for Jason. I could be wrong, but it sounds like they're taking their Sweet Revenge time on this one. And yeah, I don't know. I take everything that the Jason Universe people say with such a huge grain of salt, because they are way more interested in making sure that Jason's ready to go for Fortnite and all that stuff. So they are, they're basically fishing to an audience of people that don't really know anything about Jason. Like, they know what Jason looks like, But it seems like to me that most of what the Jason universe people, like most of what they're focused on is getting bringing in new people. And, you know, they haven't said it explicitly, but it seems like they don't really care about the fans that have been here for decades, you know, which is whatever. That's their own prerogative. And I could be wrong. By the time we're actually seeing a movie, maybe I'm completely proven wrong. I don't know. I didn't think Sweet Revenge was terrible, but it wasn't anything that really gave me like a whole bunch of confidence. There just wasn't much there. And the Crystal Lake TV show, I am feeling really good about the way it looks. You know, we've shown all those great on-set photos and everything like that. We've been covering that TV show pretty heavily here on the channel, and I'm really, you know, encouraged by what we're seeing there. But that doesn't mean the show's going to be good. You know, like we still need a solid story, good performances, and even though everything has a good look to it from the behind the scenes aspect, what is it all going to look like when it's shot and edited and music is put on there? Is it really going to have that mood and atmosphere that's going to resonate with Friday the 13th fans? That is yet to be seen. I'm going to remain as positive as I can on Crystal Lake because we've seen some positivity, but with Jason Universe, I'm kind of at arm's length with these guys. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. Maybe I'm being a stick in the mud. Let me know if you're hanging out in the live chat. Jump on in and let me know your thoughts. Talk me off the ledge, so to speak. And if you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments section down below. Let me know your thoughts on how all of this Jason Universe stuff is going. Your thoughts on the Crystal Lake TV show. Tell me what you want to see from a Friday the 13th reboot or what you're hoping the show brings us as well. And of course, thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content because we're covering horror news all the time here on the channel, whether it's movies or TV shows or comic books, video games, whatever, as long as it piques our interest or tickles our fancy, we're going to cover it right here. So hit that subscription button or subscribe button, hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. All right, guys, I almost made it through the outro there. Almost made it through. Let's see what we got here. Seeing what you guys are saying about Friday the 13th. Jason Carpenter says, all this Jason talk makes me want to pop in Jason Takes Manhattan or Jason Goes to Hell. I just watched those movies within the last couple weeks. I've torn through all the Friday the 13th. Right now I'm up through Rob Zombie's Halloween on the Halloween franchise. So, and then I'm mixing in I'm going to be mixing in A Nightmare on Elm Street because we've got the stream tonight, and then we've got Lido popping in on Thursday the 23rd to talk about it. Oh, shoot. Gina, you should check it out. It's on YouTube. It's on. I'd be curious to know what you think about it. Yeah, I would be curious to know. Okay, let's just go ahead and keep on moving here. Since we've got, two more to cover after this one. So 3 stories left here. And guys, just for the live audience, just so you know, the reason why I'm flying through is because I've got another stream at 10 p.m. Eastern. So I wanted to cover these items and then have a little moment to breathe before enjoying Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984 to celebrate Raymond's birthday. Okay. All right, folks, so we just got this story here published by, I'm going to restart that. I don't know what's with me in my intros today. Well, it looks like Jason Blum is not going to be satisfied here, guys. We've got a story from Bloody Disgusting that comes to us by way of John Squires, and the headline reads, quote, "I will never give up," end quote. Jason Blum says Friday the 13th and Elm Street are still his white whales. So, whew, I know there's probably a whole bunch of like puckering horror buttholes out there because anytime Blumhouse gets brought up, there's a lot of people that are like, stay the fuck away from my favorite franchises or favorite characters. And then there's other people that are like, oh, I love Blumhouse. And then there's probably some folks in the middle as well. Now, I'm curious to know from you guys whether or not you're hanging out in the live chat or you're watching after the fact. Let me know in the live chat. Jump on into the comments if you're catching this afterwards. let me know your thoughts on Blumhouse. I'm kind of like, the way I feel about production companies is sometimes they hit it, sometimes they miss it. And I think that's the deal with Blumhouse. I enjoy their Halloween movies. I don't enjoy everything that they do. I mean, I don't think I enjoy any studio's movies like across the board, right? They have, like I said, the hits and the misses. And so I know with a lot of people, I've already seen it on Twitter because this story dropped yesterday where people are like, stay the F away from Friday the 13th to Jason Blum. So let me know your thoughts, guys. And let's check out this article here. I mean, the look on Freddy's face right there says, I think, says it all for about 70% of horror fans out there as far as Blumhouse attaining the rights to A Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th. So the article says, if Jason Blum had his way, he'd be acquiring all the big horror franchises like Infinity Stones. But while Blumhouse has generated multiple new franchises of their own, including Paranormal Activity, Insidious, The Purge, and The Black Phone, the only white whales that Blum has been able to get his hands on thus far are Halloween, which Blumhouse revived with a trilogy of tales chronicling the further adventures of Michael Myers, Laurie Strode, and Corey Cunningham, and The Exorcist, which has gotten off to a rocky start. And then there's Saw, which Blumhouse just boarded earlier this year. Blumhouse is bringing James Wan back into the fold to shepherd a new chapter. And then there's Saw, which Blumhouse just boarded earlier this year. Blumhouse is bringing James Wan back into the fold to shepherd a new chapter for the Twisted franchise. What else is next now that Blumhouse has left Haddonfield behind? In a sprawling new conversation with Variety, Jason Blum has provided some insights into his franchise hopes. For starters, Blum has confirmed that Blumhouse indeed no longer has the rights to make Halloween movies. He explains, quote, "We don't own the rights anymore. I had a 3-picture deal, but I would do another Halloween movie." He also reveals that Blumhouse was recently in the mix to board the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, though A24 ultimately won the rights. And Blum says, "We were in the mix. The deal isn't closed, but we probably won't get it." His other white whales on the horror front? Blum tells Variety in this week's new interview discussion, Friday the 13th and Freddy Krueger. Those are my 2 white whales. There has been no movement on the Elm Street franchise in many years, but the Friday the 13th saga is a different story. After years of messy legal issues, Jason Voorhees is back with his new Jason Universe initiative, with A24 and Peacock filming a prequel television series titled Crystal Lake and a new Friday the 13th movie reportedly in early development at this time. Stay tuned for more on all of the above horror franchises and Blumhouse's role in them. So a bit of a quick read there, which I'm thankful for because, there's not like an incredible amount of meat on the bone. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. I'm grateful that it's a relatively small article because there isn't much there other than, Jason Blum kind of talking his pipe dreams for what he wants, as far as, like I described at the beginning of the stream, he's playing Hungry Hippos with these horror IPs. So I don't know. I don't even know if I have any like real strong feelings here because I enjoyed the David Gordon Green Halloween movies. So, I would say I don't think Blumhouse could do worse with A Nightmare on Elm Street than, Platinum Dunes did in 2010. And, I like the 2009 Friday the 13th remake. So that would be tough to kind of like live up to that and to outdo that. I think Blumhouse could still do it because I think they've got a lot more tricks up their sleeves than most people think. People think of the PG-13 like one-off movies that don't do well, and they just think that every Blumhouse movie is going to be like that. But I actually think Blumhouse gives a lot of creativity to the creative people. So I think they do that a lot more than massive studios do. Now, versus like A24 and Neon, I think they're all like pretty close. I think maybe Neon's got the edge, but I don't think that Blumhouse is like total shit or anything. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to this. And maybe because I'm lukewarm on the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise as it is, so I wouldn't mind seeing, a different group of people push this thing forward, usher this into the new era. And they could give us something great. I don't know. I don't even know what to think, guys. So tell me what you think. Whether you're watching live, let me know in the live chat. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Let me know your thoughts on Jason Blum wanting to get a Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. I'm very curious. Light up the comment section. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll chat it up down there. And thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content, because we cover horror news all the time. Rumors like this Blumhouse, or even just like pipe dream stuff like this with Jason Blum. We cover TV shows, movies, books, comic books, video games, all that stuff. If it tickles our fancy or piques our interest, we're going to cover it here on the channel. So hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, what do you crazy kids got for me on this one? What do you got? I was meant to be watching Jason Takes Manhattan Now, but Davey went live. All right. Going through Friday, then Halloween. That's the order that I tackled him in. Yeah. That is the same order. Yeah, a little bit of editing. The first one went really well, Eli. Maybe you brought in some bad mojo. I'm just fucking with you. Yeah, little. You know what? No matter what though, Eli, I always cut little things here and there. So this stuff is easy to edit versus doing a pre-recorded vid. That's for sure. Would Jason Blum make Friday the 13th and Elm Street too comedic? I mean, I don't think so. Elm Street already went super comedic. I don't know if he would, because I don't know how much Jason Blum actually like influences that stuff. I think he's more about like tries to pick the right people and like let them do their thing. That's what I gather anyway. Okay, and we're not done with Blumhouse here, guys. We are not done. Blum is all over the friggin' news this week. It's been a wild week for him. All right, guys, so not only does Jason Blum want the Blumhouse tentacles all over Friday the 13th and A Nightmare on Elm Street and all that kind of good stuff, they have already acquired the Saw franchise. And here we get some, I think, some good news for Saw fans. We have an article from Bloody Disgusting that comes to us by way of John Squires, and the headline reads, Jason Blum says James Wan will be, quote, hugely involved in the Saw franchise future. Now, when it comes to Saw, for me, I've only seen like the first 3 movies. I'm pretty lukewarm on the Saw franchise, but I know that you guys really dig the Saw franchise out there in the YouTube horror world. So, anytime it comes to a new production company taking over a property, some people get nervous. A lot of people get nervous when it comes to Blumhouse. I get it for some reasons, and then other times I think, oh, this is just, like any other narrative that keeps on getting pushed and pushed and pushed. More people are just going to start believing it just because they hear that Blum ruins everything, which I don't think is the case. But I do think it's very encouraging for Saw fans that James Wan would have any involvement. I think just that bit of news is encouraging, and then to hear that he's going to be hugely involved, I think that this is a like, hey, Saw fans, relax. James Wan is going to make sure that, when we set sail on this new journey with Saw, that it's going to be smooth sailing for that ship. So, but since I'm kind of a lukewarm fan on the franchise, I am curious to know what you guys think. So if you're watching live, let me know in the chat. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Give me your thoughts on the Saw franchise and just on this news of, James Wan and Jason Blum teaming up. And it looks like James Wan is going to definitely take the lead here. So let me know your thoughts on all of that in the comments down below, and let's jump into the article here. The article says, the Saw franchise is now in the hands of Blumhouse in the wake of Saw X, with the company recently acquiring the franchise rights from Twisted Pictures. Blumhouse has acquired, quote, the library, the 10 previous movies, all of the ancillaries, roller coaster, escape rooms, all of it, end quote, as part of the deal, with a new Saw movie expected to be in development very soon. One thing we do know is that Saw franchise creators James Wan and Leigh Whannell will be helping to, quote, guide the future of the franchise, end quote, alongside Blumhouse and Lionsgate. James Wan says, quote, Saw holds a special place in my heart. Coming back to this world with a fresh perspective is thrilling and deeply personal. For me, this will mark a significant creative return to the franchise for the first time since the early days, and I'm very much looking forward to embracing the original script whilst pushing the legacy forward in bold, unexpected ways, end quote. And that all right there, I mean, that is kind of like that's like your politician answer, or just like a football coach. Like he's saying all the right things. So, and I do think he's sincere, because this really does come from, like he says, a special place in his heart. So he's not just taking this thing over, you know, he was there from the start. And the article continues, in a new in-depth conversation with Variety that was published this week, Jason Blum himself talks about Blumhouse's plans for the Saw franchise for the first time. Quote, it's really hard to make 10 movies in a franchise. I don't take that away from the original series producers, Blum notes, and I'm grateful to them for allowing us to continue. And he also says in the interview, quote, my creative outlook is what I always preach. Get the people who made the magic in the first place more involved. James Wan, who is the original director, will be hugely involved. That's how we're going to reinvent it, end quote. And guys, this tracks. I mean, if you just look at Halloween, whether or not you like the Blumhouse Halloween movies, he did exactly what he's saying here. He got the people who made the magic in the first place more involved. It's the first time John Carpenter came back to the franchise since Halloween 3, right? In Halloween 3, Carpenter did the music, and I think that's the last time he was directly involved until Halloween 2018. So, you know, just like I said before we dove into this, like, I think Blum, he kind of knows his role, and I appreciate the hell out of that. So the article rounds out here by saying, Wan, of course, directed the original Saw, written by... So the article wraps up here and says, Wan, of course, directed the original Saw, written by and starring Whannell, but it's been a long time since Wan and Whannell have been directly involved with the franchise. Saw 3, way back in 2006, was the final film to have major involvement from the duo, with Whannell writing the screenplay based on an idea from he and Wan. The idea for that movie was to effectively end the Saw franchise, with the third installment killing off both Jigsaw and Amanda. Of course, that bold decision ended up having no real impact on the franchise's future viability. And guys, here at the channel and here on Bloody Disgusting, you can stay tuned for more on Blumhouse's Saw plans as we learn more. So how about that? Let me bring up this little picture here. There we go. That's a nice little shot of Jigsaw, the little half face with Billy the doll. Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of front-loaded my opinion on this one, so I don't think I have much to say here other than I'm happy that James Wan is involved. I think that, you know, Jason Blum knows how to handle these, you know, legacy kind of IPs, these IPs that already have a foundation built. So I think this is great news for fans of Saw. Maybe this will spark something that makes me actually finish out this franchise, because I haven't seen all the movies. And maybe by the time they've got something rolling here with Blumhouse, I will be all caught up and ready to go. But I'm curious to know what you guys think, so let me know in the live chat. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Let me know your thoughts down there. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content, because we cover horror news all the time here. Movies, TV shows, comic books, regular books, video games. If it piques our interest or tickles our fancy, we're going to cover it right here. So hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, what do you guys got going on here? No Tobin Bell, no Saw, in my opinion. Well, I think he's still young enough, you know, I think, or at least in good enough shape to keep going here. I don't know. Don't care about Saw, but good for its fans if it works. I'm indifferent about this, period. Man, when Leanna puts a period at the end of her sentences, sometimes she texts me and there's a period and I'm like, oh man, it's like, what is it about periods at the end of like casual, correspondence that seems so like definitive? You know, it really is like, there we go. Yes, I'm kind of indifferent too, Leanna, but I'm pumped for the Saw fans. I really am. Torture porn has never really been my thing. It's like, if other people enjoy it, that's cool. And then by the third movie, I was like, okay, I get it. All of these movies are gonna have some sort of twist. And it's like, once you know that there's gonna be a twist at the end of every movie, then you just spend the movie like looking for the twist. And it kind of, I don't know. It just kind of soured with me. Yes, Paula, you are correct. Blum does not have Halloween anymore. Jason Carpenter says, John Carpenter, legend, just shared his thoughts on Halloween Ends last night. He applauds DGG over Rob Zombie. Listen to it. Okay. I'll have to check it out. Because I don't, Rob Zombie's, his remake is just so unnecessary. But I do like his sequel quite a bit. But yeah, I would imagine that John feels really good about those Blumhouse movies. I mean, if he didn't feel good about them, he wouldn't have stuck around to produce and do the music and all that. Hey there, we got Dean Renner in the house, one of our Patreon members, channel members, and Death Squad mods. Dean says, hey everyone, popping in real quick to say hi, even though it's loud as at my work right now. Well, thank you so much for popping in, Dean. We'll miss you, man, but we know you got to make that money. Yeah, I think, Jason, I think Frank Riker from Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast was there at that show last night. Jealous. I know, the period makes it seem like, oh no, mom's telling me no, guys. Like, I just asked if I could stay over, and my mom's like, no, period. I got the text. There was a period at the end of the text. She says I have to clean my room. Fuck. Should have cleaned my room yesterday. We got Herbert Geddes in the chat. What's happening, Herbert? He says, hi, Davey and all my friends. I'm enjoying the new Conjuring movie tonight. The Last Rites. It's awesome. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. The Conjuring movies, I think I've only seen the first two. And I think I've seen one of the Annabelle movies. And that's it. So I guess I need to catch up on those, don't I? I think I do. Okay, guys, we got one more story, and then I'm going to give you all a break from me. Does that sound fair? Does that sound fair, guys? This is very, very sad news, unfortunately, this story we're about to get into. I'm not happy about it, but a lot of people probably just don't care. Yeah, fucking sucks. Okay. All right, folks, so we've got some bummer news here for George Romero fans, or just, fans of the original Dawn of the Dead from 1978. As you can see here, this article from Bloody Disgusting that comes to us by way of John Squires has a headline that reads, Walmart hopes to demolish the Dawn of the Dead mall within the next 2 years. So, yeah, recently we covered a story where the Walmart company had purchased the Monroeville Mall. And, I was hoping that they would do something with it that could salvage some part of it or at least, I don't know. It's a piece of horror movie history. And it's tough with something like a mall. Like, it's tough to get it entered into like a registry that like gets it protected and all that stuff. I know there was a petition that was, going around just to save the mall, but a corporation like Walmart, they're just going to do what's best for them ultimately. And I suppose that's their right, even though I don't agree with it. And even though it bums me out, I don't know. Let me know, guys, in the live chat, your thoughts on the original Dawn of the Dead and your thoughts on, losing kind of like a monument to horror here in the Monroeville Mall. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Let me know your thoughts down there. I'm trying not to be like solemn about this whole thing. And maybe I'll try to jazz myself up and get my energy up. But this is it's just a bummer. I mean, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and mourn a building, but as far as our horror fandom goes, This is not good. So let's go ahead and check out this article here, which reads, imagine this. The mall from the original horror classic Dawn of the Dead, George A. Romero's masterful takedown of ravenous American consumerism, is being destroyed decades later by Walmart. Excuse me, I just had a little burp. It's a storyline you might find in a Romero movie, but unfortunately, this isn't a movie. And the Monroeville Mall in Monroeville, Pennsylvania isn't likely to return from the dead. Almost 50 years ago, late horror master George A. Romero forever immortalized Pennsylvania's Monroeville Mall as a piece of horror history, filming his classic masterpiece Dawn of the Dead inside the real-life mall. Crazy enough, the mall has remained operational after all these decades. But as we learned earlier this year, it got a new owner, Walmart. As part of the $34 million deal, it was reported at the time, Walmart and Cypress Equities were to work together to, quote, reimagine Monroeville Mall into a new retail and commercial destination, end quote. But we didn't really know what that meant at the time. Now it seems that the plan is to completely demolish the existing mall and start fresh with a new concept at its former location. Pittsburgh Magazine reports this week, quote, South Saturn Ridge LLC, the name under which Walmart purchased the mall earlier this year for $34 million, is seeking $7.5 million from the state's Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program to demolish the mall. It would make way for, quote, Monroeville Mall Gateway, end quote, a plan to create a modern mixed-use destination that strengthens the regional economy, according to the Pittsburgh Business Times. According to one... Oh, gosh, I was reading it totally right. According to one owner of a restaurant inside the mall, he's been told he'll need to vacate by April 2027, with the iconic Monroeville Mall slated to be demolished to create an open-air shopping center with a Walmart, a Sam's Club, a skating rink, shops, and restaurants. Located in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, the Monroeville, good God, saying Monroeville, drink every time I say Monroeville. Located in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, the Monroeville Mall first opened its doors in 1969. Nice. With George A. Romero and his cast and crew taking over the mall less than 10 years later to bring Dawn of the Dead to life. The mall was also featured in Kevin Smith's comedy Zack and Miri Make a Porno, which used the location as a means to pay tribute to Romero's legacy. The Monroeville Mall has been a popular tourist location for horror fans to visit over the years, with Romero fans gathering together at the location for the annual Living Dead weekend. The mall is also currently home to a bronze bust of George A. Romero commemorating the location's cinematic legacy, as well as retail store, the Living Dead Museum and gift shop. And that finishes up the article here. So, gosh, here's what I'm going to say. I totally get it. I figured Walmart was going to do this. My hope is that they still find a way to honor George's legacy, keep that bust, find a new place for that shop and museum, and just, even if you're going to destroy the mall, like, you know, provide something, you know, I don't even like a scaled down model of the mall inside that museum or something like that. So there's some way that people can kind of, even if it's like a virtual walkthrough, I don't know, maybe I'm just being ridiculous here. Maybe I'm being way too, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of it right now. I'm so caught up in the emotion of finding out that the Monroeville Mall is getting destroyed. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I hopefully they find a way to just honor that legacy, like I said. So I guess it's no surprise. If you've never been there and you're a fan of the movie, now you know we've got a ticking clock. It's counting down. And by, I don't know, May, I would imagine, May 2027, this thing is not going to be there anymore. So, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Whether you're watching live in the chat or maybe you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comment section down below. Give me your thoughts on Walmart. What do you think of Walmart? And what do you think about them demolishing the Monroeville Mall? It's Like I said a million times, it's a bummer. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments section down below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content, because we're covering not just the bummer news, but we cover horror movie news, TV news, video games, comic books, whatever, as long as it piques our interest or tickles our fancy, we're going to cover it right here on the channel. So hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Okay, guys, I barely made it through that one. I'm about to cry over here over a fucking mall. Over a fucking mall. But let me get rid of that. There we go. Holy cow, we got Robert the Wolfman. Ow, ow. How are you doing, Robert? So great to see you, bud. Yeah, it's, my gosh. I could hardly talk at the end of that. What's the word that I'm looking for? There's a word I'm looking for, and I couldn't, oh my God. The brain farts that you have on live streams, guys. I know the word is like right there. It makes me want to scream. What is the word that I'm thinking of where it's not nostalgic, sentimental. I'm a sentimental kind of guy. So I'm getting all sentimental about a mall that was in a zombie movie that's almost 50 years old. Heck yeah, man. Take care, Jason. We'll see you next time around. Leanna, going to watch Army of Darkness with the kids. All right. Have a great rest of your night, Leanna. I'm sure, hopefully we can talk sometime this weekend. I hope you have a great night with the boys there. And yeah, guys, I'm going to bounce here pretty quick too, because I have another stream coming up at 10 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be watching A Nightmare on Elm Street here on the channel. It's going to be a simulcast. So jump on over and hang out with us. We're going to celebrate Raymond Malibur's birthday. I love Dawn. There's a zombie that looks like my Aunt Mary. Which one is it? Which one is it, Gina? I need to know. Tell me, baby girl, because I need to know. We got, let's see here. I must have missed somebody coming on in. A-Troll Campbell. What's happening, A-Troll? Great to see you, man. Welcome on in. Yeah, guys, I think I hate to like just drop the news and bounce, but I got that stream coming up here in a little more than hour and a half, and I just want to be able to decompress a little bit, but I wanted to catch you guys up on some of these news items. We haven't really gotten anything big, so these have been kind of trickling in. So hopefully within the next week, we'll have like maybe a Scream 7 teaser trailer, some really, really fun stuff to talk about and dive into, and just kind of chew the fat and discuss our thoughts on. So I really do appreciate you guys kicking it with me here on this news live stream. I love having you guys along with me. Thank you so much to the Patreon members and the YouTube channel members, as well as our amazing group of Death Squad mods. You guys are incredible. That's going to wrap it up for this round of the news. But yeah, guys, I will be back at 10 p.m. Eastern right here on the Davey Deathray channel. We're going to be watching A Nightmare on Elm Street 1984 and celebrating the life of Raymond Malibu on his birthday. So jump on in and kick it with us. And yeah, man, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share the channel if you haven't done that already. And until next time, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.